Welcome back to The Explainer. So, for decades, space has totally been sold to us as the final frontier, right? It grabs all our imagination and, let's be honest, all our funding. But what if the actual final frontier isn't up there, but straight down? We are talking about the deep, dark, and honestly terrifying abyss of our very own ocean. Okay, let's dive into this. It's a debate that constantly sparks massive tension online. Which is actually scarier? Are you more terrified of the endless, silent void above us, or the crushing, completely alien depths right below? Just consider this for a second. Throughout all of human history, exactly 12 human beings have walked on the surface of the moon. 12. And we've literally had a continuous human presence on the space station for over 2 decades now. But historically, down in the ocean, only 3 people have ever descended to the Challenger Deep, the absolute lowest point on Earth. And one of them was literally just a filmmaker spending his own millions. The disparity in how we explore these two frontiers is just absurd. Now, both of these environments are freezing, pitch black, and intensely hostile. Both require these incredibly complex pressurized vessels just to keep you from dying. Yet they try to kill you in exact opposite ways. As the saying goes, space kills you with nothing. The deep ocean kills you with everything. So the crucial point here is that in space, you're fighting a vacuum. Unprotected, your body just expands. But in the deep ocean, you are facing a crushing weight of over 1,000 times what you feel at sea level. That is enough pressure to instantly crush solid steel. Think about it. We have spacesuits that allow for 6-hour spacewalks, but we have virtually zero equipment that lets a human just step outside and walk around at the crushing bottom of the ocean. Section 2. Aliens of the Abyss. Because trust me, we do not need to leave Earth to find them.
Just take the goblin shark, for instance. This thing is a living, prehistoric fossil with a jaw that instantly detaches and snaps forward to capture its prey in the pitch black. And you know what's worse? Its pinkish skin is actually semi-transparent. Yeah, you are looking directly at its internal organs. Talk about a nightmare. And guys, the deeper you go, the more extreme it gets. Look at the fangtooth fish. Living 5,000 meters down, its teeth are so disproportionately massive it literally cannot even close its own mouth. And then, of course, there's the anglerfish. Down there in total darkness, it waves this glowing, fleshy lure to bait prey right into its fanged jaws, swallowing creatures twice its own size. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer terrifying scale of the invertebrates prowling down there. Picture a giant sea spider with a monstrous 25-centimeter leg span that uses a literal proboscis to suck the insides out of its prey. Or the spiny red crab prowling around at 2,400 meters, its entire body covered in armor-piercing spikes. It's like something out of a sci-fi horror movie. But wait, what about the sounds of the deep? Because it's not just about what you see. Imagine floating in absolute zero visibility, thousands of meters down, and suddenly echoing through the abyss, you hear this bizarre metallic ringing noise that sounds exactly like a spaceship straight out of Star Trek. Scientists were completely baffled by this sound for a solid decade. They called it the biotwang. Well, it was actually just recently identified as a highly complex call made by Breed's whales. They basically use this eerie sci-fi noise to play a massive deep ocean game of Marco Polo across the pitch-black abyss. How wild is that? Which brings us to Section 3, Surviving Extreme Confinement. So whether you're up in orbit or deep underwater, both astronauts and submarine crews endure what are known as ICEs, isolated and confined extreme environments. And the psychological pressures are identical. You've got separation from family, forced tight cohabitation, severe sleep disruption, endless monotony, and absolutely zero physical privacy. And crucially, you literally cannot just step outside when you want to leave or get some fresh air. Let's move to the next point and see how this builds, because they handle these exact same stressors in completely opposite ways. Navies rely heavily on rigid stoicism. For submariners, your inner emotional life is strictly your business. You're afforded the dignity of just being left alone. But space programs, they actively monitor and manage their crews. They view an astronaut's inner life as mission-critical infrastructure, demanding the real-time sharing of feelings to keep everyone sane. Moving right along to our 4th section, the fear of the unknown. If you look at the great debates on Reddit, a really fascinating psychological consensus emerges about this.
Outer space triggers a sort of existential dread. Sure, it's terrifying, but it's a passive, almost awe-inspiring kind of fear. The ocean, on the other hand, feels like a very active threat. It actually makes people physically queasy because it feels like imminent, visceral danger right below our dangling feet. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the science behind that feeling. Evolutionary psychology calls it theophobia, the fear of the unknown. See, our brains evolved to survive by constantly and quickly identifying visual threats. So, in deep, dark water where we completely lose all boundaries and have a total lack of visibility, because our minds literally cannot prove danger isn't there, they just go ahead and invent the monsters for us. There's this striking quote from a sailor that really hits the nail on the head. Planet Earth is not a nice, soft place to live on. It will win most of the time. The ocean isn't millions of miles away like Mars, right? It covers 71% of our planet. It is right beneath the boats we sail every single day, constantly reminding us of its raw, untamable power. Section 5, Protecting Our Uncharted Waters. And guys, here is a truly shocking statistic. We literally have better, more detailed maps of the surface of Mars than we do of our very own ocean floor. Think about that. A massive 80% of our global oceans remain completely undiscovered and unexplored. We are practically blind to our own planet. And unfortunately, that lack of mapping directly translates to a lack of conservation. Currently, only 7% of the world's oceans are protected. Governments and industries constantly use this lack of data as an excuse, leaving a staggering 93% of these incredibly vulnerable habitats completely unprotected and exposed to exploitation. That's exactly why organizations like Oceana are fighting so hard for the 30 by 30 goal, which is protecting 30% of the world's oceans by the year 2030. By pushing to map these terrifying depths, we can actually secure the vital data needed to force legal protections for these bizarre ancient ecosystems before they are just lost forever. So space might be the infinite frontier up above, but the ocean is the immediate, crushing, and wildly unknown frontier right below us. Next time you look out over the water, I want you to remember this haunting thought. Maybe that's what makes the ocean so terrifying. Not what we know is down there, but what we don't. What other unimaginable secrets do you think are waiting in the dark right beneath us?